of advocating with alumni, students, and our friends. In preparation for that day, we had more than 120 alumni and students join us in a virtual session to align the Rattler Nation with the university's legislative agenda. And let me thank Vice President Jamal Sowell and the National Alumni Association for their very key role in supporting this very important initiative as we advocated for our staff and students and employees on April 9th at the Florida Capitol. We were also pleased that Florida Board of Governors Chancellor Raymond Rodriguez joined us, who discussed the value of a FAMU education. FAMU is still among the top universities for affordability and our ability to transform the economic trajectory of our graduates and their families. And of course, in May, a few weeks ago, we hosted a wonderful commencement weekend as more than 1,300 students graduated through 3 ceremonies. We were blessed to have 3 noteworthy speakers share inspirational messages to our students and graduates as they began their next chapter in life. We had alumni, Interim Brown, a group vice president of Eli Lilly Corporation. We had alumnus Bernard Kinsey, an entrepreneur and co-founder of the Kinsey African American Art Collection. We were also pleased to bestow an honorary doctorate on Shirley and Khalil Kinsey. And of course, lastly, we had as a speaker the CEO of Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey, Fun Weaver. She reminded us that our graduates are prepared to walk through every door that opens and sit at every table ahead of them, knowing that they are prepared and equipped and that they do belong. Additionally, I'm excited to share with you today the Carnegie Foundation of the Advancement of Teaching recently acknowledged FAMU for its leadership on 2 fronts: advancing science and discovery of the nation and prioritizing student access and success. And as you know, we know, FAMU is a Carnegie R2, a Research 2 institution. But did you not know that we are also one of the 470 institutions selected by the Opportunity College and University known as OCU? This new certification recognizes institutions for providing both access to students in the communities that they serve and a pathway to competitive earnings. FAMU is one of only 27 institutions nationwide that has earned both the Carnegie R2 designation and the OCU designation. That deserves a round of applause, Rattlers. Our licensure rates. In our alignment with our strategic plan and goals, FAMU has implemented targeted interventions to improve first-time passage rates in clinical license areas such as nursing, law, physical therapy, and pharmacy. These new interventions represent a process called RISE, R-I-S-C, Resources for Improving Success on Exams, which provide tutorial and content support programs by discipline. I am pleased to report that we are already seeing results in this first year implementation. The College of Law's bar exam increased from a passage rate of 41% recently to 67%. And we are not through yet. But listen to this. The School of Nursing received a passage rate of 93% on the National Council of Examinations for registered nurses. This is an 11-point increase over last year, and it exceeds the national benchmark of 92%. And let me pass out the thank yous. Dr. Allison Watson, our provost and VP for Academic Affairs, Dean Howard, and Dean Dr. Shannon Brent Bright Smith. These three individuals have given extraordinary time in making sure these professional students are prepared. Thank you, Dr. Watson, for your leadership. And let me also go off the script and add, there has been talks, communications in the Tallahassee community about Florida State University being the manager of the local hospital there. But underscore this, FAMU is and will be at the table. I've been told by the mayor and the commissioners, nothing will be completed without FAMU having a say-so. So let's get this right. Our health programs, they're not going anywhere except on the highs of Seven Hills. Other strategic areas for improvement include the undergraduate retention rate. Listen to this. From 2019 to 2024, in 5 years, we went from a retention rate of 73% to 86%. And again, special appreciation goes to our faculty, staff, administrators, and even our students for playing such a vital role in increasing this percentage rate. Now, listen to this. There's something we call performance-based funding, PBF. The reason I said that FAMU is extraordinary, and we are doing as good as we've ever done, because listen to this. We just scored the highest score in our history of PBF, 83% out of 100% this year. Come on, give FAMU a hand. Accreditation continues to be very important at the institution. The School of Journalism and Graphic Communication has just received re-accreditation from the prestigious Accrediting Council on Education in Journalism and Mass Communication, ACEJMC. And if you don't know it, there's only 4 journalism schools or colleges in the country that are HBCUs. FAMU, we're in our 43rd year, and we're doing quite well. Thanks to Dean Myra Lowe. Just last week, the FAMU College of Education received its initial licensure accreditation, reaccreditation, effective spring 2025 to spring 2032. This process affirmed accreditation to 12 programs and licensure options. And again, congratulations to Dean Price and her team for accomplishing this very significant milestone. So as you see, FAMU is on the rise. As the children, young people say on campus, don't you get it twisted. Lastly, the university continues to offer our students in the state of Florida the best of both worlds. A quality academic experience at a very affordable rate. We still pride ourselves in the state of Florida university system as having the lowest tuition in the country. So as you can see, our brand is strong. And the demand to join this community of scholars remains very high, which has resulted in FAMU receiving more than 20,000 applications for the fall 2025 freshman class, over 20,000. Last fall of 2024, the graduating class of 2020-28 average GPA was 3.93. And the national standardized test score, using the ACT or the SAT, was in the top 70 percentile. When you compare our freshman class to their peers across the country, we really are in the 80th percentile. Last fall, enrollment rose more than 4%, close to 9,500 students. Our retention rates is even greater. From the fall of 24, whether 23 to 24, almost 90% of the class of 27 return as sophomores. Those results don't happen by accident. We have changed academic advisement to ensure a more vibrant early warning system for students who are struggling. Student success is basically an all hands-on deck enterprise. That's why we focus and believe strongly in service excellence. And by the way, I'll script a little bit. My first week there, first few days in the fall of 24, because I hear this all the time, talk about the financial aid department, but let me just be honest with you and up front. I went to the new CAS building. I did not see a line in the financial aid the first week, really the first day of the fall semester 24. So just in case you hear people talking, let them know we're not perfect, but we've come a long ways, baby. So today, students who live on our campus do better academically. That's why we are in the process of nearly completing a 700-bed resident hall on the south side of campus. If you come to campus in the next perhaps few weeks, you will see a very, very beautiful landscape. And I want to thank VP Brown and her team for continuing this effort to make FAMU shine. Let's give VP Brown a hand. This brings us to today. The FAMU National Alumni Association is a critical support system in our formula for success. When our alumni, you, me, when we give back in the form of scholarships, it demonstrates to those on the outside looking in that FAMUans care about the future of this institution. We need your support just as much as we need you to say you're a rattler. We need your support in a very high quantity of some paper that happens to be green. As we say in church, I don't hit nobody. I mean that your individual gift to FAMU is amazing. But your gift plus a gift from your cousin, your mom and them, Pook and them, your auntie, we need all of it. So today, we believe strength comes from numbers. We want every single name to be counted on the rolls to demonstrate that the 80,000+ living alumni in the village of supporters who sent us to FAMU, that we stand in solidarity. We stand that FAMU will live forever. As you know, we are preparing for a change in leadership at FAMU. And I pledge a commitment to ensure a smooth transition to welcome the next president. But as my time as interim president comes to an end, I want to personally attest to you and to those who may be listening that FAMU is bigger than the person in this seat. FAMU, and I say this to my current team, presidents like me and others, we come and we go. We send students. I sent 2 of my daughters to FAMU. They came and they left. Think about the great presidents of this institution, whether it be from Tucker to Lee to Young to Gore, Perry, Humphreys, Smith, Mangum, Robinson, Ammons, doesn't matter. We come and we go. The constant is our students. And I just want to say today, as we said in Pasco Hernando State College, we must keep the main thing, and that is the success and education of our students. So FAMU is bigger than one person. I would love to take the credit for the numbers that you just heard, but don't get it twisted, Beard. It's because of our administrators like Dr. Watson and Dr. Palm and Ms. Brown and many others. That's the reason that we're number 83. So today we need you. We need our alumni. I hope you have fuel in your tank to keep supporting FAMU. And I don't mean 85 unleaded. You got to have premium in your tank today. Please continue to support our efforts to prepare the next generation of students who will come to the highs of Seven Hills and depart to change the world. And we tell our graduates, you come here to learn, you depart to earn, and we need you to return as our alumni. So today, thank you, FAMU. Thank you, family. FAMU yesterday. General Moses Miles, 1980, I heard this. FAMU today. FAMU forever. So we will prepare to sit down, but let us be reminded. Most of us in here, we are believers in our Lord Jesus the Christ. And if you're like me, it's been somewhat of a challenge the last 14 days, because many times we get caught up in all kinds of things other than what we are really here for, and that is the success of our students. But I want to just kind of transform, go from Clark Kent, get in that phone booth and become Superman. Meaning going from being carnal to being spiritual, from being a president to being a preacher dean. There was a woman who had some issues in the 9th chapter of St. Matthew. She had been messed over by physician after physician for 12 long years. But you know what she did? She went from carnal to spiritual, from natural to supernatural. She said this within herself. She said, but if I can just the hem of his, what we need in this hour are some rattlers to say within themselves. And keep in mind, it didn't come from her, it came from God. She said, if I can just touch the what? I will be. We need some rattlers today to do some touching. Hello, rattlers. I know it's been tough the last 2 weeks, but tell somebody, if I can just touch. Anybody need to touch? Tell your neighbor, I need to touch. That's what it's going to take for FAMU to continue to be sustained. And I want you all to know I'm willing to touch that hem, that I may continue to do what? Support FAMU. Help me say FAMU. And as I take my seat, there's something that's echoed and remained in my soul, and that is legacy. When I came as a freshman to Dr. Walter Smith, and then later working beside Dr. Humphreys and my mentor, people like Dr. Ammons, we talked a few weeks ago about legacy. We cannot allow this legacy to be defeated. So in closing, when the dark clouds gather on the horizon, thunder and lightning pierce the sky, the fate is but a glare in the eye of a fallen route, and hope is a lost friend. When the sinews of the chest grow weary, but those hard charging linebackers, and the muscles in the legs go tired for those hard charging running backs, we as alumni and everybody must remember the Rattlers will strike, strike, and strike again. Thank you, Rattler Nation. Please allow us to show you a video, and then we will have to come back to make one final presentation video.
Florida A&M University offers the best of both worlds, where academic excellence meets a vibrant celebration of historic culture. Our students excel in programs like business, artificial intelligence, pharmacy, architecture, and nursing, gaining the skills they need to become global change agents. Here, we honor our history, our community, and our culture. It's our legacy. We dominate in athletics too. Whether it's football, volleyball, or golf, our athletes compete at the highest level, building discipline, leadership, and school pride. We are more than a university. We are a community, a family, building the future on the foundation of our past. At Florida A&M, you'll get the best of both worlds, a challenging academic environment and a cultural experience that is unmatched. Welcome to where you belong. Your future starts here.
Ladies and gentlemen, alumni family, please join me in welcoming our past president, Mr. Curtis Johnson. Will you come? Current president, not yet. He's still on the road. Can we stand and give this great man a hand? He served well. And it reads as follows: Florida Agricultural Mechanical University, presented to Mr. Curtis E. Johnson, Jr., the 19th president of Florida University National Alumni Association, in recognition of your outstanding leadership and service to your beloved alma mater, Florida University, presented this 30th day of May, 2025. Let's give it up for this great man.
Thank you, Dr. Beard. Thank you, alumni family. No one's counting, but it's 31 days, okay? And a wake up. 31 days and a wake up. Come on, Doc.
Let's give our president a hand. Dean Wesson, you're up. Let's welcome the Dean of Agriculture, Dean Wesson. Mr. A in FAMU. You all have a slide?
Good morning, Rattlers. I don't know why they did this to me. I got to follow the president with a great hype video, got everybody hyped up. I was supposed to be here yesterday. I want to just make that announcement. I want to just had a very short introduction. I want to just tell you who I am, very important. I'm Dale Wesson. I'm Garland and Rose Wesson's baby boy. From East St. Louis, Illinois. I'm also, what I do is I serve this wonderful university as the Dean of the College of Agriculture. And what's important about that is that we like to say that we put the A in FAMU. It's Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. It's not a subtle fact. But we are, in fact, the land grant, the 1890 land grant in the state of Florida. We are one of 19 land grants across the university, 1890 land grants across the state, the United States. And importantly, we want to say and want to let everybody know and want to follow what the history of this great university is, that we put the A in FAMU, CAFS being the College of Agriculture and Food Sciences. The reason that I wanted to give this particular presentation is that we are in the process of growing. We're in the process of starting our own, or actually continuing our own legacy right now. And I wanted to bring that to the alumni so that you could all see where we're going. We've got great things happening at the College of Ag. Next slide, please. Just wanted to say as a parent, please register, get your kids registered. Go ahead, next slide. It's our vision to do our three-part, they call it the tripart mission for the land grants. We've got teaching, which is academics, research, and extension, which is outreach into the community. We do all of those at great lengths. Go ahead and hit the next slide. That's the three-part tripart mission for the university for all land grants: teaching, research, and extension. Next slide. In teaching, one of the things is that when your kids come to the College of Agriculture, we'll have the most updated curriculum. We use the most updated technology. We are increasing our the technology in our classrooms. We're also increasing the ability to actually teach classes and teach it online so that they have the best attempt to give the best knowledge to the students. Next slide. Forward. One of the things that you'll see is that what we have is we connect all the way across. One more slide. We connect all the way across the university. You can't really see it there, but we have actually 4 targeted programs. We have ag engineering. We're the only one of 2 HBCUs in the nation that has agricultural engineering, the other one being North Carolina A&T. We have food science, which reaches all the way across the university. We're planning to do things with the College of Athletics to help with the food program, training program, as VP Suggs had mentioned earlier this morning. We've got the College of the Department of Ag Sciences, which reaches over into pre-vet, vet technology, and agriculture and other animal sciences. And then we also have ag business, which we do partners across over into partners with SBI. But one of the important things is our programs are fully funded scholarships, offer fully funded scholarships from the federal government. You've probably heard about them, the 1890 USDA scholarships that will pay full ride scholarships. We currently have about 20 of those currently. We have scholarships for the Department of Agricultural Engineering. We call it BSc, Biological and Systems Engineering. We also have a scholarship that's put through by the federal government by one of our graduates, David A. Scott. He's a graduate of the university on the Ag Committee within the federal government. And we offer full scholarships through the David A. Scott program. We literally get $1 million a year for those David A. Scott scholarships. And so we are fully funded, we are fully operative, and we are growing. Next slide. In research, I've got listed there 5 centers. Well, actually, it's 6 centers. 5 centers. One is Center for Water Quality and Resources, where we study and manage the water quality in the state. We've got the Center for Biological Controls. We study invasive species that come into and keep from coming into the state to mess with our crops. We have the viticulture and small fruits. You're probably familiar with that, with a 50-acre vineyard down on Mahan Drive within Tallahassee. And we're planning for our next one, the climate smart control, where we're using AI and other technologies to develop new products throughout the state. And then the other 2, we've got a big farm up in Quincy, roughly 270-acre farm in Quincy, where we raise goats. We also have our vet tech program there. And then get this, we were given, by the way, back in 2014, but we're in the process of managing this property of almost 4,000 acres down in Central Florida, in Brooksville, Florida. And so those are projects that we're actively doing. Go ahead, next slide. We're also moving, we've acquired a building over in Innovation Park within Tallahassee of almost, 26,000 square feet. We're moving two of those actual centers, the Center for Water Quality and the Center for Biological Controls, into that building. That frees up, you guys are familiar with Perry Page, that frees up Perry Page to now be renovated and now to have undergraduate research laboratories there. And we now have the ability to put our faculty, our growing faculty, into properly funded research, properly spaced laboratories and offices. 26,000 square feet is a lot of room, as you could imagine. And we're also moving our ag engineering and food science into that building. Beautiful space. We think we'll be in there by January. I've always laughed with talking to the provost. If the building was actually given to us, but that's the most expensive free building we've ever been in. But we're equipping it with Wi-Fi, internet, fiber. We're equipping it the way it should be equipped. And so it's becoming very expensive, but it will be the state of the art over in Innovation Park, over there, where in the research park. Next one. In our extension is our outreach. That's when we reach out and give back to the community, involve the community in a lot of our activities. I'll mention later, down in the roughly 4,000 acre facility down in Brooksville, we actually leased land to black farmers through the Black Farmers Association of Florida. We leased land, get this, at $10 an acre. There should be a line outside my office. $10 an acre, mostly for grass feeding cattle. We actually have plans to rent bulls to the black farmers. Land goes down there, is renting somewhere between $150 to $250 an acre. We're leasing it to them at 3-year leases for $10 an acre, up to 100 acres. Okay. Next slide. That's what I really want to talk about. We actually call it BAERS, Brooksville Agricultural Environmental Research Station. Next slide. What I don't want to skip over, by the way, those 4,000 acres, they're really spread out over into 4 plots. When you hear us talk about it, many people think it's all in one plot, but it's 4 plots actually. Brooksville is about a 4-hour drive, 200 miles from Tallahassee. I don't know if you're familiar with it, down there in Hernando County. Okay, actually pretty close to the interim president's former college. Look, the acres up in the top. By the way, these now have the names that were given to us. We named them, were given to us by USDA. This one here is called Bankhead 2. The one shaped like a triangle is Bankhead 1. The one shaped like a crazy shape there is Robin's Donation 1. And then the one shaped like a 1 is Robin's Donation 2. Actually, I have those backwards. Robin's Donation 1 and Robin's Donation 2. We're looking to name them for naming rights. So we would like to have some donations to be able to do that. We've got to work it all out with institutional advancement, but we're going to rename all of this. By the way, we've looked at the history of this land, and this land was acquired by an old Civil War guy, and he sold it. And then when he sold it, he brought over 70 enslaved Africans. And they named it, they have I call it the big house, but there's a large house that looks over the property, and he named it Chinsnicket, And what it is, it's an Inuit name that means reclaimed land. We want it. I want to own that property. And think how it would mean, what it would mean to us, that we could reclaim this land. It's a small piece that's right next to our farm. We want it, and we're working on trying to get it through the state of Florida. But we actually had our emancipation ceremony on the weekend of the 20th, the 17th. We had our emancipation proclamation reading at that particular site. But getting back to it, the large area up in the upper right-hand corner is Bankhead 1. Go ahead, next slide. On that land, I actually, just go back one slide. On that land is actually a solar farm. We're using it to generate revenue. We've leased it out. You've probably heard it. It's called Rattler Solar. We've leased the land to Duke. About 680 acres of solar farms. We estimate we can generate revenue of almost $750,000 that we can now run the rest of the facility with that. I don't want to take all of the credit for that. That was the brainchild of Dr. Gaines and Dr. Green Powell when they began to manage this almost some 5 years ago. But we're in the process. We will flip the switch in January. And once we flip the switch in January, we'll generate somewhere around $750,000 a year to manage those particular properties. That's 2,000 acres. The remaining is what we lease to black farmers for grazing and the like. And so they just enter into a lease with us at $10 per year per acre. So if you had 100 acres, $1,000 a year to manage it. All we require is that you keep it in prime condition and keep the fences fixed. We supply water, fertilizer, and the like. Okay? Down in the triangular part, we actually use that for growing, for leasing it to actual beginning farmers, row crops and the like, and we lease it at the same rate of $10 an acre. The smaller one down in the bottom is for 4-H. We're building a 4-H camp down there where we will actually have kids doing their 4-H activity. And then in the middle one is what I call our playground. That's similar to Quincy, where we actually have all of our research animals and the like. Hit the slide. I'm just run through these next two ones because I'm running a little long. But what I want you to know is we're growing, we're reaching out to the community, and we're trying to do one more. And we're trying to do great things. And I want you to meet Stryker. I don't know if you could see it. 5-year-old horse. Our farm hands use him to get around all over those 4,000 acres. We're in the process of trying to buy a second one. So when you come to visit us at Brooksville, our farm hands and farm managers will greet you on horses that have and Stryker, and we're going to get one more that actually have the FAMU Rattler saddles. Okay, all right. So with all of that, I am just asking you to hit the next slide. This is our double. Oh, I'm not. I almost got it. A little ahead of myself. What we're planning to do in the next 5 years, we feel very comfortable to double our enrollment. We're going to need you to push people to come our way. We've got scholarship dollars and other opportunities. We're currently, our College of Agriculture right now is only about 320 students. But what we have is, remember I told you the three arms, teaching, research, and extension. We have about 100 faculty. We've got about 30 in teaching, 30 or so, a little bit more than 30 in research, and about 40 in extension. We feel very comfortable that we could get to 700 of students without having to add more faculty cost. And so that's our first thing, is to double our enrollment. Second is to expand our research expenditures. You've heard us talk about going to R1. We currently, meaning the university currently has about $73 million of research expenditures. Of that $73 million, CAFS, I'm proud to say, is responsible for $32 million. We ain't playing. We ain't playing. We plan in 5 years to get to 50 million. And I think it's very reasonable. We have excellent faculty, we have excellent resources, and as you see, we're now getting excellent facilities. We want to expand our PhD programs. That'll also help us move to R1. Right now, we only have one PhD program in the College of Agriculture and Food Sciences. That's a PhD in entomology. We plan to move toward getting a PhD in ag sciences and also a PhD in agricultural engineering. We're really close to the agricultural engineering because we do work with environmental sciences now. Our faculty is producing PhDs in environment in the School of the Environment right now. That one's an easy goal. Enhanced facilities, as you've seen, we're trying to enhance our facilities to top-notch facilities so that our students have access to them, to all of the great teaching methods. Our faculty have access to the top technology and cutting-edge research. And we've got to get our brand together. When we reach down there into Central Florida, we want them to know that the Rattlers are here. Our facility is maintained pristine. That's why I want you to come. When I told my folks that work down there, I want it to look like Disneyland. It's easily recognizable because we just put in a fence that surrounds it to keep our animals in. Green fence. Green fence. And it's pristine. When you ride up, you see it and you say, this is FAMU. And we have dinner and lunch within the community, and we've invited that community into our property. They have stargazing, as you can imagine, standing in 2,000 acres and no lights. And if you look up I've been there, you look up at the sky, it looks like there's pepper. Oh, well, not pepper, but salt. Salt all over. It's a beautiful stargazing opportunity. We've engaged into the community with that. Next slide. So we're inviting you to come grow with us. That's a double entendre, right? Come grow with us. And with that, one more slide. Hit it. Thank you. Thank you.
That was incredible. Thank you so much, Dean Weston. Let's give it up for him again. I have to give a personal thank you because he was the dean of our daughter, Celeste, who graduated from the College of Agriculture and Food Sciences and was an 1890 land-grant scholar. And what was so interesting is that she got the 1890 land-grant scholarship from Central State University in Ohio, but she had her heart set on FAMU. And she called and she said, you know, we're a believer that fortune favors the bold. Batman taught that to my husband, and he taught that to our family. And so she called the lady at Central State and was very gracious and said, thank you so very much for this scholarship. I'm just wondering if I could transfer it to FAMU. And that was on a Monday. And she said, I'm not sure, but let me find out. She called the gentleman who was responsible for the program, I believe, across the country. And wouldn't you know, it was a rattler. And he said, I've never been asked that before, but the answer is yes. And she graduated from FAMU in December. She is off our payroll. Hallelujah. And she is gainfully employed as a sales manager for Frito-Lay in Cleveland, Ohio. So you can get anywhere from FAMU. I didn't realize when I was a student graduating from Columbus, Ohio, I had 3 criteria for college. An HBCU, I grew up with a different world, I couldn't help myself. A good business school and at least 3 states away from home. And FAMU was the best decision I've ever made. I am Kristen Harper, a 2-time alumna of Florida A&M from the School of Business and Industry. The NESBIans in the house. Yes! And coming to FAMU was the gift that keeps on giving. I think of FAMU as an annuity. I didn't consider that when I was choosing which school to go to. But FAMU is the gift that keeps on giving. No matter where in the world you go, if you meet a rattler, it's an instant connection. It is instant grace. It's instant love because we are part of the FAMUly. Protocol has been established, but I do want to recognize President Beard in his absence and thank him for his leadership. To the members of the senior leadership team, the staff and faculty of the university and deans. To President Johnson, thank you for your leadership with the NAA. The entire executive board, thank you, Chuck, for your leadership for this conference. I also want to recognize Chair Neighbors and the FAMU Board of Directors who are upstairs conducting business. Also past President Greg Clark, as well as Tommy Mitchell, and President-elect Polk. And I must give it up to my husband, Andre, because I would not, first of all, I wouldn't have met him had it not been for Mr. Mitchell. Because Andre was in the Black Male College Explorers. And had it not been for the Black Male College Explorers, he wouldn't have been at FAMU. Had it not been for, after he went to the military, to the Army, and actively enrolled as a student who graduated from West Palm Beach, he called Mr. Mitchell and said, can I get into FAMU? And Mr. Mitchell walked his paperwork where it needed to be. And a week before the semester started, he said yes. FAMU said yes, and so I must always thank Mr. Mitchell. And honey, I love you dearly. I would not be able to do anything that I do without his support. So I want you all to give it up for Andre Harper. And I have to thank God from whom all blessings flow. Without him, we wouldn't be here. I've spent about 6 years on the Board of Trustees, and I want to just give a few reflections on where we are and where we're going. First of all, and some things that I've learned, the first thing I want to talk about is systems. FAMU operates within the context of the state university system. There are 12 public universities. There are a number of colleges, and there's K through 12. And what I've come to learn is that the system is really designed to produce outcomes related to talent that can support industry. And so many colleagues, not only on the Board of Trustees, but also those within the Board of Governors, many are business people, and a lot of those look at the system almost like a business. And so when you saw the metrics that were shared yesterday, as it relates to performance-based funding and metrics, et cetera, know that there's a return on investment that is being sought for the investment that's being made in students and in universities. And so that's why there's been a change over the past several years from a FTE model where under President Humphreys, with whom I served as student body president, God rest his soul, that was an FTE model where for every student, there was a dollar amount. It's no longer the same as you heard yesterday. In fact, the university, all state universities within the state of Florida are responding to requests around DOGE within the state of Florida to look for efficiencies. There's already been one reply in mid-May around DOGE, and a second has come just this week. So the system is looking certainly for an ROI. Now, the next topic I want to talk about is cream. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. You know it. So we've talked during this convention around the sources of funds for the university. And there are a few buckets. Certainly the state invests. Certainly there are tuition and fees. There are contracts and grants, many of which come from the federal level. And then there are other auxiliary funds, et cetera. Alumni giving is important, and that starts with students. So creating a culture of giving is always critical, and corporations are critical. But the thing is, many of the corporate gifts are stewarded from alumni. We've had some record years. I'll talk about that next. We've had some record years with, as you heard, the performance-based funding, getting to 83, our highest ever in the course of having the performance-based funding model. We have reached record high graduation rates as it relates to four-year graduation rates. They're record high for FAMU, but they still pale in comparison to our peers within the SUS. We've had record high philanthropy, record high research expenditures, et cetera. When I chaired the Strategic Planning and Performance Measures Committee, and we crafted the 5-year strategic plan, Boldly Striking, and Carmen can tell you, she was on the committee. I stood on a platform and I talked about customer service. And I said we cannot have the same issues in the 2020s that we had in the 80s or the 90s or the early 2000s. And so I appreciate the team for the focus, in particular, Dr. Palm, as it relates to service excellence. And so we've definitely made a lot of progress there. And my husband told me when I was elected chair nearly 2 years ago, enjoy the honeymoon period, because a crisis is coming. And I've experienced some crises, but here I am, and here we are. So when we think about some of the accomplishments, I just want to highlight, certain aspirations. Certainly Boldly Striking, if you have not taken a look at Boldly Striking, I'm going to give you some homework, so get your pens or your phones out, whatever you want to write and take notes with. If you have not looked at Boldly Striking, please do so. That's the 5-year strategic plan. We're about halfway through, a little over halfway through that plan. It goes through 2027. But I'm really proud that we are not only the #1 public HBCU for the 6th consecutive year, operating in the #1 state for higher education for the past 9 years, but we have reached and cracked that top 100 under President Robinson's leadership to get to number 81. There's also, this is your second piece of homework, the SUS 30. This is the new strategic plan for the Board of Governors. There are even higher aspirations because, as Marshall Goldsmith said, what got you here won't get you there. And there are new metrics that we will need to achieve, and we need to do it with your help. I'm proud of some of the firsts that we've been able to accomplish, in addition to the 2 residence halls and the capital improvements, even to Howard Hall, which had not been renovated in 40 years. So really thankful for the work of the legislature. There are a few new things that we've done under my tenure over the past 2 years. Did you all enjoy the presentation from Provost Watson and Dr. Hudson and his team yesterday? A jewel to our university. Last year, we hosted for the first time ever a joint meeting between the FAMU Board of Trustees as well as the DSOs, the Direct Service Organizations. So that includes the NAA, the Foundation Board of Directors, the boosters, as well as the industry cluster. And I wanted to make sure I'm a person who loves strategy and believes that we can get where we want to go to faster together, right? And so we had a joint meeting to really ensure that all of our DSOs understand where we're going as a university and how we want to get there and how each of us can support that endeavor. You heard this morning from VP A.D. Suggs that the Foundation Board of Directors has invested in a gift officer to drive revenue for the Marching 100 as well as athletics. And that's important because we need to leverage our brand. And they are brand assets that can reach world stages that we can't from an academic perspective, but it drives the awareness of FAMU. So I'm really thankful that the Foundation Board of Directors invested in that. I've established two special committees under my chairpersonship. One is the athletic sustainability model, because we want to make sure that we have a sustainable financial model that can get to a break-even budget in a predictable way year after year. So I thank VP Suggs for her leadership there. They will be presenting during our June meeting. And then we established the Special Committee on the College of Law. And I want to again thank Provost Watson for her leadership with that special committee, because we've had some opportunities with the College of Law. There have been a lot of changes over the years, but we still have a ways to go. So I'm excited to hear from that committee in our June board meeting as well. We also, in addition to the FAMU Day at the Capitol, we hosted a first ever trustee day of lobbying. That was in late March at the Capitol, and that was a very engaging day. And then there is a, right now defunct, but we're bringing it back, a fourth DSO, which is the FAMU Research Foundation. And I appointed Dr. Jamie Valentine Miller, who is a FAMU alumna. She received her bachelor's in physics from FAMU, her master's in physics from Brown University, and was the first African-American woman to receive a PhD, and to earn, not receive, earn, a PhD in physics from Johns Hopkins University. And so she is also involved in the National Alumni Association and part of the Orlando chapter. So as the Research Foundation gets up to speed, and as we perceive and continue to pursue the R1 research status, that will be critically important. So finally, I want to leave you with 7 calls to action. And again, get your pens out. And they're going to be focused on 7 A's. The first A is alumni membership. I want to thank each of you for being here, because it's an investment of your time, your money, your talent, and treasure, not only to be a member of the NAA, but to invest in coming to this convention. So thank you, and give yourselves a hand. I also want you, though, to each one reach one. We're at a point right now, we have tens of thousands of alumni, over 80,000, maybe even more. We have to get greater numbers in our alumni association, okay? And so I want you to, this is part of your homework, write down the names of 5 Rattlers who you know, to invite them to become a member as of July 1st, okay? There's also an opportunity for associate members, those who did not, to be an alum of FAMU, it only takes 1 semester. You didn't have to graduate, okay? But there's associate membership as well, where you don't have to be an alum. You could just be a supporter of the university and all that contributes. So that's the first A, is alumni membership. The second call to action in A is accountability. Accountability, I want us to hold each other accountable, and I want us to hold the people who are in charge to represent this university accountable. That includes the Board of Trustees. That includes the President. That includes the Board of Governors. That includes elected officials and politicians, because there is a fiduciary duty. I'm going to give you that as homework too. There's 3 fiduciary duties that we as trustees, as well as Board of Governors, we're volunteers, okay? I can only speak for myself. I haven't gotten a penny of profit from my service, okay? We have a fiduciary duty to act in the best interest of the university. And so hold us accountable, okay? That means coming to the meetings. That means reading what the agenda is going to be prior to. That means reaching out. If I've replied to one of your emails or text messages, I've tried to do that to everybody because you matter to me, but hold us all accountable. Number 3. Action, as in political action. I believe that FAMU would do best by establishing, not FAMU, let me be clear. I believe that as alumni and people who love this university and wanted to operate in perpetuity, we would do best by establishing a political action committee. What I've learned is, going back to the cash rules, everything around me. From my perspective, the love language of elected officials is money and votes. When elected officials are invited to other universities, and I heard this on good faith from someone who knows, when elected officials are invited to other universities, they'll host a lunch. But guess what? The lunch costs $500 a plate, $1,000 a plate. They might leave with a $25,000 check. And when legislation comes up that has to do with that university, guess who's going to get favor? A political action committee cannot be associated with the university, okay? So that's why I said the who is separate from any DSO, separate from Board of Trustees, etc. If you're interested in that, let me know. There's somebody who's working on it. The next A, the 4th A, is auto debit. Auto debit. How many of you have an auto debit right now to the university donating? Okay? That's your next homework. Add an auto debit. It could be $18.87 a month. It could be $187 every quarter. What are you auto debiting? Because money makes the world go around. Okay? And it's not about, it's about our sustainability, it's about our perpetuity, okay? So auto debit, and I would add to restricted accounts. Restricted accounts go toward the donor's intention, and that's how you direct your money to where you want your money to be directed to. Number 5 is assets. What assets are you contributing to the university? My husband and I, gosh, about 10 years ago, we were college students at FAMU, and we saw the Kinseys. The Kinseys are from, Mr. Kinsey is from West Palm Beach, just like my husband. And we said, gosh, we'd love to do something like that. And 10 years ago, we saved up our pennies, our dollars, and we established a $25,000 endowment. That was a big deal for us at that time. But guess what? Dr. Robinson always said, give until it hurts. It's not enough to just give one time. So now FAMU is on my life insurance policy. It's a 6-figure beneficiary, okay? So what assets are you contributing to the university in addition to your time and talent? The next A, the 6th A, is appointments. Appointments to the Board of Trustees, appointments to the Board of Governors, appointments to the Foundation Board of Directors. My term ends as a trustee in January of next year. My term as chair ends in September of this year. On June 11th and 12th is the next FAMU Board of Trustees meeting, and there will be a call for nominations for chair and vice chair. I'm passing the baton to each of you because I can't carry FAMU on my shoulders. And I appreciate each and every one of you and those who aren't in this room for all of your support and your gratitude. Now we all see what's at stake for our university. Right now, if you go to the Board of Governors website, you'll see that there are 3 openings for FAMU Board of Trustees. If you're interested, let's talk. We need to populate our volunteer boards with real rattlers who love the university and will be fiduciaries and live up to our sacred trust. And finally, the 7th A is advocacy. Each of you, I know, by virtue of the fact that you're here today, you are engaged in your respective local alumni chapters. I know many of you do recruiting, and that's critically important so that we build the pipeline of students to come to our great university. This is nothing official, but just as a parent of 3, I'm an advocate for students taking their standardized tests at least 3 times and starting early. Our son just took his SAT, no prep, no pressure. He did phenomenal. So proud of him. But start early. Encourage students to start early in middle school. You heard the statistics yesterday. If you know a student who struggles in math or science, a family member, invest in tutoring, Mathnasium, Khan Academy. There's so many resources that are available. I want to also tell you that once I try to integrate advocacy into every one of my trips to Tallahassee, and I met with the commissioner on the lottery, and what he shared with me is that in the history of Bright Futures, there have only been between 6 and 8% African Americans who have benefited from Bright Futures. That's an immediate opportunity. We need to get our fair share of Bright Future students because their way is paid for, okay? And I'll just tell you one more thing that I've chosen to do. When I was growing up, I grew up in a Baptist church, and our pastor, at one time, my Sunday school teacher was our superintendent. And every quarter, our pastor would recognize students and children, part of Mount Olivet, who had A's and B's. And he would bring us all up to the front of the church, everyone, all the kids, Moments with the Youth every Sunday. But every quarter, they would read the names of students who received all A's and B's on their report card. And he would give us $1. Listen, I could buy some Now Laters, some Alexander the Grapes. I was happy. It wasn't just the dollar. It was the self-esteem boost. It was the focus in academic excellence. It was knowing that there's a village who is supporting me. And I did not want to be on that list, getting $1. And so I had a flashback a few months ago when we moved our daughter to Cleveland, and they did something similar at my Line Sisters Church. Shout out to Beta Alpha and shout out to Deltas. And so I decided at our church that I'm going to give $5, you know, inflation. $5 to every student. I'm talking about from preschool through high school, who has all A's and B's. And I'd encourage you to consider doing the same. I added it up. It's maybe $200 a quarter. But how can we sow into the next generation, right? So advocacy, there are a lot of ways that we can advocate. And so as I wrap up, I just want to reemphasize our why. Our why is students. Our why is the perpetuity of FAMU. That means we want FAMU to be around forever. And I read a quote this week. Goals are for people who care about winning once. Systems are for people who care about winning repeatedly. When we think about the life membership in the NAA, that's a system. That's a system where you make a one-time $750 payment, which that needs to go up too. I'm just saying. A one-time $750 payment, but the benefit lasts even beyond our lifetimes. What systems can we put in place so that we're not caught flat-footed the next time? What systems can we put in place so that the benefits will continue even after we've left our role? What systems can we put in place so that we're playing chess and not checkers? Malcolm X said it this way: education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. And so the last thing that I want to share with you is, as we are entering this next season in FAMU's history, I want you to think about who FAMU is. FAMU is not one individual. FAMU is not you. FAMU is not me. It is an institution that has lasted for nearly 138 years that we want to last in perpetuity in the future. And as my good friend Jeff, right back there, said, he told me that the power isn't in the cross. The power is in the resurrection. And FAMU is not done rising. God bless you. Let's continue to strike and strike and strike again.
Thank you, Chair Harper. Thank you, Dean Wesson. Thank you, Interim President Beard. At this time, I have approximately 10:43. We have lunch scheduled at noon. We're going to move immediately into our continuation. I see President Johnson's in the rear. President Johnson, you come back up. We're going to move right back into our continuation of our general body session, upon which we have four reports that are still to be given by officers and our committee chairs, and then we'll move into the budget review and voting on the budget. So I hope everyone has their paddles. All right? Everyone clear on that? All hearts and minds clear? We're going to do you in the afternoon. I don't think we're going to be able to fit it in this morning, Lillian. Yes, ma'am. We're going right into meeting now. We're going right into the continuation of our meeting right now. President Johnson's here to bring the call to order. I want to scoot over a chair.
What was the question? Oh, is anyone in registration? We'll get back. All right, Rattlers, if I can have your attention, please. Rattlers. I'm now going to call the meeting back to order. The regular business session for the National Alumni Association is going to continue at this point. We have some committee reports that we did not get to yesterday. We're going to cover those this morning, and then we will probably start the budget. Hopefully we will conclude the budget, and then we'll break for the presidential luncheon. So without any further ado, I do want to start off on a good note. Jeff, do you have that flyer picture ready to put up? Thank you, Chair Harper, for those remarks. We have taken membership in this organization very seriously from day one. I've always advocated that we need to get to a 10,000 member organization, and that needs to be the continued focus. But just at this convention, we had and gained a new life member. And I want to acknowledge that new life member right now and give her her due and a round of applause. We're waiting on Mr. Jeff here, who joined our National Alumni Association. You ready, Jeff? All right, let's give it up for Miss Ann Gibson, who joined here on spot. So thank you, Ms. Deborah Payton-Jones, for assisting with that. This is our newest life member of the National Alumni Association, and she was beaming with pride to become a life member. So let's give it up to her and give it up to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and chapter. All right, who do we have up, Mr. Secretary?
First Vice President.
First Vice President report?
Yes.
Okay, all right, very well.
All right, good morning, Rattlers. I would just say thank you to all of the previous speakers, to President Beard, Dean Wesson, and Chair Harper. I was writing notes, and we have our marching orders going forward, so thank you very much for your message. So I'm here to give the report for the first Vice President. And so those duties, of course, are to preside in the absence of the president in national meetings and an executive board, and serve as the coordinator for the annual spring meeting, which we haven't done, but also serve as an ex officio member of the National Convention Committee. One of the things that I've been working on for some time is the Policies and Procedures Committee. And so I want to thank all the members that are listed here. We've been meeting very regularly to work on several sections of our policies. Xavier Durden is the vice chair, Donna Allen, Gerald from the Southern region, Gerald Brown, Far West, Robin Carter, Midwest, Joy Davies, National and International, Reginald Mitchell, Florida, and Natalie Peters, Northeast region. So thank you to the committee. Thank you all for the work that you've been doing. This committee has been drafting several sections of the bylaws. We completed the chapter bylaws policy and template as a revision. That was originally adopted in 2017. We have a new version of that policy updated in 2024. We also worked on the nominations and elections section that has been drafted. However, when we came into the 2025 season, there were additional rules that were added, and so we need to incorporate those in there as well. We've also been working on budget and finance policies or financial policies. We've made significant progress and have submitted that draft back to the Budget and Finance Committee for review. And committee members are researching several topics within that document. Also, the Chapter Scholarship Awards section, the subcommittee began work on this, but I know that there are some changes going on at the university, and so that the committee has placed that section on hold. Also, the chapter chartering procedures. We have completed this draft document, and we're submitting it now at this point for your review for information only. That was completed some time ago, and then in the coming weeks, we'll outline a process to solicit feedback from you and then submit it to the board for approval. So please note, we do understand that this document does reference some of our outgoing membership system YM, and so of course these will be updated as we move into our new system for our membership services. Then we have other policy sections to include officer transition report. I'm not going to read all of those to you, but we have several sections that we're working on for this. And so we will obtain input from appropriate stakeholders and hold meetings and be able to go back and incorporate those changes using the new technology too that we're going to have, so that we can access that once again and then make sure that we are completing all of this and approving our policies and procedures. And then finally, I did have a chance, and thank you to the Miami-Dade chapter, when you had your virtual membership drive, had the opportunity to participate in that, and so thank you for that opportunity. So I will go to, I'm not going to go over the draft copy of the report, but you can see it's about, I think it's about 15 to 20 pages. It is in draft. We will, like I said, have an opportunity to take comments on those things. And that's pretty much the end of my report for information. I do thank you all for allowing me to serve in the past 3 years as your first vice president of the FAMU National Alumni Association. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to go to the recording secretary, my report. I'm sorry. Yes, all right. So we have the first, the recording secretary's report. So these are the minutes from last year. As required, last year we started the public program. You could see, and this is in the flipping book, but okay. I think it was previously submitted, so I think this one was already there. So, nevertheless, there were no action items. They called the meeting to order, all that good stuff, and they went through the agenda, and there were no action items at this particular time. All the various officers gave committee reports and officer reports for information purposes during this time, and there were no action items. We then got to the action items where we took attendance and we captured the attendance, all the individuals that were present from the regions they were present from, and the chapters participating and the regions they were from. We adopted the agenda by action item, and we read and approved the minutes from the previous year as an action item. Finally, as we always are required to do, we did the budget, and the budget passed by majority vote, 73 to 25. Next up, we had other committee reports, and there were no action items, but information was given for information purposes only. And finally, the action items of the bylaws committee. We passed one of the 6 recommended amendments, and so it is necessary that we do, signed by the president and the recording secretary, we did approve the criteria for honorary membership. So proposed section 2.2.6, so I will draft and get it notarized and signed a 2024 version of the bylaws, so the record will always reflect when we passed revisions to the bylaws. That was the only portion that passed. We tabled the final amendments, if they failed, and we had the votes recorded in that information. And then the next day, we actually pulled all the remaining bylaws from the table. Finally, we went through and had the nominations committee. So we got all of what are the historical nominations that came out of that convention, and that lists all of the officers that were nominated from the floor and self-nominated at the convention. And again, all of this is in the flipping book, and it'll be available online. We'll load it to the normal official documents page, but it'll also be in the flipping book. And that concludes the report, Mr. President. All right, so I'm going to exit out of that. Now we have, let me see. We have the treasurers and the financial secretary.
So the treasurer's going to make her way up.
Madam Treasurer is here to present both the treasurer's report and the financial secretary's report. You want to do this? Okay, that's cool, no problem. There we go, let me see. Treasurer, financial secretary, here we go. All right, we love technology. All right, so here we go. Madam Treasurer.
Good morning, Rattlers. this is in the way.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Thank you, Mr. President.
It's parliamentary procedure.
Sit
Let's-
corrected
Yes.
as it's a requirement to adopt the minutes from the previous minutes by vote. And so with that being the case, Mr. Chair, if it's in order, I'd like to move to approve the minutes of last year's meeting.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept the minutes from our last convention in Tampa, Florida. Any questions? Hearing none, all indicate by raising your paddles, please. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, we'll now hear from a financial secretary.
Yes.
Okay.
The treasurer will present the financial secretary's report. Okay, well, she's doing her report right now, so, okay.
Okay. Good morning, Rattlers. Good morning. I will be presenting for the financial secretary who was unable to make it to the convention today, and then I'll present the treasurer report. These are for informational purposes only. Reports should be in the flipping book. If not, they're almost there. Okay, well, they will be, and they'll also be uploaded to the FAMU NAA website as well. So let's go to the next page, please. All right, so these are the revenues. Again, I'm presenting financial secretary first. These are the revenues for the current fiscal year. As of April 2025, let's see it. Now, I'm just now looking at her report. Sorry about that. We've brought in $733,205.19. Not going to read over each line. You all can definitely go through each line to see what the income has been since we started July 1st, 2024. Okay, next slide. All right. So, top 25 chapters, chapter membership count as of May 15th, 2025. Leon County chapters, number 1. Metro Atlanta, number 2. Jerry Lee, number 3. Greater Orlando, Miami-Dade, Broward County, Tampa, Washington, D.C., St. Lucie. So give yourselves a hand. I believe the next slide talks about the different rankings for large chapter. 125 plus members. Number 1 would be Leon County, 2, Metro Atlanta, J.R.E. Lee, number 3. Medium chapters from 50 to 124 members. St. Lucie, Gadsden County, Marion County, and small chapters, 1 to 49 members, would be Northeast Georgia chapter, number 1, Alachua County, Gainesville, number 2, and School of Nursing chapter, number 3. So give yourselves a hand. And just a reminder, Rattlers, as of July 1st, we will be in a new fiscal year. So please make sure that you pay your dues. Each one reach one. Let's bring another one in, 5 more in, whatever it takes. But if you pay your dues as of tomorrow, they will count. Actually, we will be making sure that you count for the following year. Okay, so just FYI. You don't have to wait till July 1st. Okay. Next slide. So this is Carla Johnson Harris saying thank you. Serving as the National Financial Secretary over the past 6 years for the Florida A&M University National Alumni Association has been a rewarding experience. In this role, I had the privilege of assisting with financial operations of the association, working closely with executive leadership, regional, and chapter representatives to ensure the accuracy and integrity of our financial records. I hope my contributions have made a meaningful impact, and I remain deeply honored to have served in this capacity. Striking always, Carla Johnson Harris, FAMU NAA Financial Secretary. She says thank you. So, all right, so now we can move to the Treasurer report, Mr. Secretary.
Treasurer, ready to go.
All right, let me pull my own up here. Okay. All right. Again, good morning, Rattlers. Now we're going into the treasury report. Please go to the next slide. Thank you very much. Online dues, last paid date to the chapters was May 26. Dues payment initiated via Bank of America. It takes 3 days to process the dues. Online dues are current through April 30th of 2025. So the image you see there is what was paid for March and April for each chapter. We are currently working as a team to make sure that we do a complete audit of what has happened in the last year so that we make sure once we transition over to the next set of officers that everything is done according to our bylaws. Okay, next slide. All right. So current chapters that are without banking information in YM right now. Northeast region, you're 100% compliant. Midwest, you're 100% compliant. National International region, the only chapter that is without banking information is the women's basketball team. Women's basketball chapter, sorry about that. Southern region, you just have 4 chapters, and I've been in contact with the Southern region VP about these 4 chapters. Coastal Georgia, Fayetteville, Fort Bragg, Fountain City, and the Triangle Alumni chapter. Far West has gone down to only 2, from 4 to 2. San Antonio, which we've been in contact with with Van Russ about that. North Carolina and Northern California, we've also talked about them. Florida region, you've got 5. Madison County, Panama City, St. Augustine, Willie Gallimore, Suwannee County, and Upper Pinellas Clearwater. Okay, next slide. Chapters with 10 members or less. So we've got to work, Rattlers, to try to get at least 10 members in each chapter, and all of the region vice presidents know this already, but I wanted to bring this to your attention. And I'm not going to read the chapters here that have 10 members or less, but this is something that just needs to be brought to everyone's attention. Next slide. All right, our profit and loss statement. Apologize for it being so small, but I tried to get it all on one slide. Our net revenue as of March 2025, again, these are unaudited books. You can go through each line and see what our revenue has been since July 1st of 2024. We had a total of $376,061.83. Next slide. Okay. Should be our statement of financial position summary. Again, I'm not going to go through each line, but our total liabilities and our net position as of March 30th, 2025, $4,442,978. Okay, next slide. SGRI update. So the financial team continues to work with the IRS and the chapter presidents that have reached out consistently. There have been some updates to the SGRI for some individual chapters and one region so far. Updates need to be sent to the IRS for the end of year 2025. This is always sent prior to our audit. So right now we have a list of chapters that will be sent into the IRS. And we're working with them to make sure that all chapters that are that have EIN numbers and that are fully compliant will be listed on our SGRI. This will be completed prior to our external audit, which is happening, which we're starting to gather information right now. The financial team transition, seeing that these are our last terms, the financial team is currently preparing for a smooth transition to the next team. Transition is being led by our auditor, Ms. Tanya Ware, and will begin shortly after the 2025 convention. The training process will take several months, so the current financial team is committed to stay with the new financial team throughout the upcoming audits for training purposes and to ensure a smooth transition. So again, we will begin directly after this convention. Again, it's going to take several months, so we plan to be available and around through the end of December, along with the new team, because it's going to take those months in order for us to get them trained and then through the audits that are starting now. So that is my presentation, and thank you, Rattlers, for the opportunity to serve. Yep, for informational purposes only.
Last up is corresponding secretary.
Corresponding Secretary, you have a report. As she makes her way, Rattlers, it's very important in the climate that we're going in that we have to have compliance based on our bylaws. And so this is something that I've started in working with the RVPs, working with the chapter presidents. This communication will be transitioned over to the new incoming administration. We've identified some challenges that we're going to have to work through, and it's going to be important that we are compliant at all levels of this organization. It's very, very important. And so our financial team has made that commitment to make sure it's going to be a smooth transition with systems and really understanding that as the new administration comes in. So we'll hear from our corresponding secretary. Come on.
Good morning, Rattlers. My name is Morgan Culler. I am the corresponding secretary. And just to start, I am a fourth-generation Rattler, three-time FAMU graduate from the School of Business and Industry and the School of Journalism and Graphic Communication. I started out in the FAMU NAA as the assistant corresponding secretary under President-elect Artisha Polk, and then I moved into the corresponding secretary role. Just want to go over the...
Next slide.
Yes, please. Just this side here is just for informational purposes, just in general what the corresponding secretary responsibilities are. And it's just basically to keep the public and keep, whether it's your chapter or the organization as a whole on a national point, it's the central point of communication. So to make sure that everybody knows what's going on within the in the organization or your chapter. And it's important to understand that that can only be possible if there is a clear line of communication, if there is a cohesive organization and there's shared goals amongst everyone. Go to the next slide, please. And these are some of the things that I was overseeing over the course of my time, the previous 2 years. I just wanted to lay it out plain as day as to what I was doing. As far as social posting, it wasn't just responding to your emails or sending out meeting notifications. It's all of that and a little bit more. It's talking to chapter presidents, figuring out what's going on within the region, controlling the social media platforms, creating newsletters, bi-weekly newsletters, responding to all inquiries. You can go to the next slide, please. And so within that, we also work hand in hand with many members, including the publicity director, the media and technology crew as well. And over my time, we created a FAMU NAA style guide with and I have it linked here. It's also in the flipping book. It's also on the website. But we based it off of the university style guide as well as the athletic style guide. And the importance of that is I'm an athlete. I was a former collegiate athlete before I transferred to FAMU. And my dad and I, when we were talking, we always talk in sports analogies. He played baseball at FAMU when he was there, but we go by, everybody's heard the saying, you look good, you feel good. Well, you look good, you feel good, you play good. And so we want to make sure that we look as one when we are presenting ourselves. So as one national association, but within the national association, we have different chapters. And we want to make sure we look the same across the board, no matter where we go. Last year, we talked about different colors and the Pantone colors and all of that. All of that stuff is in there. And so make sure you take a look, and when you're posting on social media or when you're sending out your emails, that you are following suit and following those things to a T. We, with the help of former publicity director Jalori Williams, we did create or revamp rather the Rattler Roundup that we host before the home games in Tallahassee. The day before the home games, typically that Friday night, we did it with the Leon County chapter. And we have giveaways. In the previous years, we had Mael giveaways. We would have different FAMU giveaways. And a lot of that stuff, Jalori and I either bought with our own money, or we had a sponsorship from Mael, so that was donated, or some of you might have even donated some items. And I want to touch on that real quick because we are still doing that. And so if you have anything or you know anybody who is willing to donate items to be a part of that giveaway for Rattler Roundup, because it is still going on. It's going to be with the Leon County chapter, I do believe now, but we want to make sure that we keep things like that going. You can go to the next slide, please. Okay. We want to make sure we keep things like that going to make sure that we're engaging the public, because that's how we keep it interesting. And so go ahead to the next one. Oh, sorry, go back. So it looked a little different this year, and so my responsibilities were just to send out emails and create your meeting emails 7 days prior. And so that's kind of all you saw from me this year. And you can go to the next slide now and create the board agendas. And one more. And so you will see the difference over the course of the years based off of our social media numbers. You will see we also had a change in social media platforms but the management tools that we use. So the numbers aren't going to exactly look the same as far as the data that I was able to pull. But within the last 90 days, you'll see kind of a drop in some things. And go to the final slide for me. One of our main platforms that you guys utilize, you guys being the alumni, we utilize for our primary modes of communication is Facebook. And you'll see that over from 2023 to 2024, 25 years, there was a drop in interactions, published content, and our overall reach. And that can be attributed to a number of things, right? And so when we're talking about correspondence and corresponding secretary duties, that is a true testament to the importance of the position and how you want to make sure that you're keeping that position in the know and you're spreading the necessary information, because it can play a part in how the alumni receives the information and the message is distributed. And so as we move forward, I just encourage you to continue to reach out to the National Association, share what's going on in your chapters, what's going on in your regions, and that way we can have, we can bring these numbers up, we can reach our goal of 10,000 members, and we can just be overall successful in the future. Thank you.
President?
Yeah, go ahead.
The General Counsel has a verbal report.
All right, board, we're gonna, members, we're gonna hear from General Counsel, who's gonna come and give an update. It's very important that we hear from General Counsel at this point.
It's still morning. Good morning, Rattlers. Good morning. As you are aware, I'm Kashasha Sharp, the General Counsel. My role is to ensure that we are within the bounds of the law as we operate and that we remain in compliance with all laws. Just wanted to provide you an update with one of the lawsuits that we received and litigated and won. Many of you should be aware that in April of 2025, we received a lawsuit from Lynette R. Jones alleging that she had been erroneously removed from the FAMU NAA ballot as treasurer as she attempted to run for 2 positions, which would have given her 2 national positions which according to our bylaws state that you can't hold two national positions. An emergency hearing was held on April 22nd to stop the national elections, and on April 26th, the court did rule that against Ms. Jones and in favor of the FAMU National Alumni Association, and a motion to dismiss was granted. On April, recently, as of yesterday, when we, as you know, the elections were held, they were approved by our National Alumni Association, and yesterday we received an appeal, or at least a notice that an appeal had been filed on May 29th. So just wanted the National Alumni Association to be aware that we did receive an appeal. It does appear that the filing fee has not been paid for that appeal, nor has a certificate of indigency, which means that Ms. Jones has not paid the filing fee, nor has she indicated that she's indigent. There also is a 30-day window for you to file the notice of appeal, which, according to the records that I have thus far, that was not followed. So I just wanted to ensure that the body was aware of the status, considering we received it yesterday. And hopefully this will be resolved and we can continue forward with the status and moving forward with our National Alumni Association. It's with the new administration that I do believe we will be able to move forward and continue to conduct the important business that we have, considering the issues that we face right now. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you for that update. So just a quick housekeeping here. We're tracking right on time. We're going to start the budget process here in just a moment. But I do want to make sure that I say a few things. I had an alumni member approach me yesterday and wanted to kind of know what our next steps are going to be. So we have some time on Friday afternoon. I will entertain in this room. We'll basically have a town hall. I want to hear from alums, their concerns, not about where we are, but really how we move forward based on this process that we're at. We do know the dates that are coming up. The foundation board is meeting upstairs, but alums want to probably express some things. I will hear them. I will respond back to you based on what I know and conversations that I have had with certain stakeholders at the university. But we'll do that on Friday afternoon. I will grant that. So thank you, Van Russ, RVP Russ, for bringing that to my attention, and we will have that conversation. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Saturday. Yeah, we're not going to have it, let's see, today is Friday, I'm sorry. Well, okay, we'll have time today, so it will be today. It will be today. I'm a little mixed up on that, all right? So we'll have that conversation, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to give it over to you, Mr. Secretary, and Budget Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. All right, again, I come to you as the Recording Secretary and Budget and Finance Committee Chair. We are doing what's required by Florida Statute 1004.28, paragraph 7, to get this budget done. Here we go. All right, so on the revenue side, we are projecting 3,000 members at $50 each annually at $150,000. Life endowment earnings out of the probably $98,000 to $100,000 in interest we're going to gain. We're saying from the revenue side, we're going to take $55,000 of that to use for budget. And the grants, fundraising, we're going to raise $100,000. We're going to take 30 participants at $20 each for FAMU Day at the Capitol. Now it's being paid for by the university, but we're still going to have registrations for things that are not covered by the university. And finally, for transportation and revenue from fundraising events during our big classic games, $5,000. We go down, so total operating income, $310,600. Go down to restricted income, and in the restricted income column, as we mentioned in all the town halls, what we take in for revenue, we have to specifically earmark it for that purpose and put that same amount on the expenditure side. So this is essentially a wash. So 300 new life members at $750 each. We're going to take that money, $225,000, put it in the 197 account, and keep it there. 25 subscribing life members at $150 each, $3,750 in the 197 account, and keep it there. And 5 student life members at $500 each in the 197 account for $2,500. And finally, for contributions, $13,000 we expected to raise for contributions earmarked to the university. $1,500 for the $1 Million Campaign Endowment. That's what we're asking all executive board members to pay to the 1404 account. That's another scholarship account created during the Bryant administration, and we're going to put the money for that purpose. And $10,000 from the interest from that $1 Million Campaign account. $10,000, we're going to take that and use it for specifically special scholarships. The retention scholarships for 1894, we expect to raise about $60,000. Marching 100, $50,000 for FAMU first. We've already raised the money, but we will use that money from revenue to pay for coaches, the commitment we've done for the 3 years that we committed to do it. NAA contributions to the university clearing, $27,000. Other corporate contributions, $10,000. And bus transportation, we're going to charge people as we do for the various classic events, whatever we charge them to pay for that shuttle or bus to the game. So that's $414,750. Again, more restricted scholarships, $250,000 to be raised by the various chapters, $20,000 individual for unrestricted scholarships, $20,000 individual contributions or chapter contributions, 3,176 carry forward from what's currently in the account to use towards scholarships. There it is again to use towards scholarships, to transfer in for scholarships. The endowment earnings, 64,748.66. So we're going to transfer monies from the 198 account to balance the budget to use for operations. That's 345,101. Finally, we have $15,000 for the Distinguished Alumni Awards for registrations at the convention, and $25,000 for the annual meeting. That's $1,110,450.60. So on the expenditure side, that same figure, it's got the balance. We've got to make sure it balances to have that amount for a balanced budget. So starting up, for printing, no cost. For media and technology, $30,307.10. For the annual audit, external audit, $16,750 plus an internal audit was requested. So that amount is what was requested to do those audits. For membership packets and pins, $50,000. For travel, for 20 national officers, I think it's $700 each, $14,000 as we do each year. For the national president, for her travel across the country, $18,000. $3,000 for homecoming, for an event at homecoming. For the various regional support, $1,500 per region. For the 6 regions, that's $9,000. $7,500 for a hospitality suite at the Florida Classic. $5,000 for the OBC suite at the Orange Blossom Classic. And government relations, a lot less travel is needed because the university pays for Day of the Capitol, but they still travel to the Board of Trustees meeting and the Board of Governors meetings, $4,000 for that. Check charges, unfortunately, unless we reverse that and transfer those costs to the donor, we're still getting check charges of $20,000, so we're going to continue to budget for that. And $3,500 for check charges to route foundation account checks, $3,500. $61.25 for the annual operating with the Florida Division of Corporations, and for the annual report and the president's expense account. If there's any cost that we didn't have time to approve by the executive board, we have for many years been budgeting $5,000 for the president to do things that they know that the organization is in the interest of doing. Finally, $9,000 for publicity, gala expenses, receptions, meetings, etc. Fundraising of $10,000 seed money to raise $100,000. Contingencies, if necessary, $500. $120 for postage, and liability insurance for the board of directors only, $1962.25. $10,000 for the student recruitment committee to have materials for the various chapters to recruit, and $12,000 again for transportation costs for buses, etc. That's a total of $229,760 for operating expenses. We have the other restricted things that we brought over to the revenue side I previously mentioned, $150,000 for national scholarships, $250,000 for chapter scholarships, that's a wash. Professional licensure exam preparation, so for the College of Law, and I believe it's like, what does it say? Law school, and I think it might be either allied health or nursing, $8,000. Let me move this over. So for high stakes testing support resources. $60,000 for SOS retention. Contributions to the university, $13,000 brought over. The FAMU First for the football expenses brought over. $27,000 for university contributions to the university for clearing, and $25,000 for the annual meeting, and $15,000 for distinguished alumni. And so that comes out to, we still have new life members, all the restricted amounts brought over from the revenue side, $231,250. The 1404 account from the executive board members, $10,000 from earnings, and that comes out to an amount of $1,110,40,50,60. And if you look, those two amounts balance, we therefore have a balanced budget. With that being the case, Mr. President, as required by all of those rules and regulations and our own bylaws, I move to approve the FAMU National Alumni Association budget by the membership.
All right, it's been moved and properly second that we accept the budget as presented. So if there are questions on the budget, we're going to have the microphone here. You can make your way up to the microphone, state your question. I see no movement at this point about questions. Yep, come on up right here.
Oh, yeah, to mess it up.
We were almost there. Almost.
Thanks, Alexander. I thought we was cool.
First of all, as she makes her way to the mic, I want to thank all of the budget committee that worked tirelessly. Let's give them a round of applause, who put the budget together, looking at historical spend, historical data, so that we can present this budget to the Board of Trustees so that they can vote on that on the 11th and 12th. So, yes, ma'am.
First, thanks to everyone for their service. It's just a question for clarification. I know previously we raised money to help fund the FAMU football coaches and so forth. How much of that money has actually been allocated to the football coaches? You know, we raised it, so how much was actually allocated and how much is still left over? It's just a question of clarity, that's all.
Yeah, so it was $50,000 last year, 100% was given, $50,000 this year, that's $100,000. I think it was, what, 117?
No, we're talking about the coaches' compensation fund.
Yes.
So we will, let me do this, because that's come up. We will actually have the numbers. That account still has money in it. I can tell you just this year, literally a month ago, Coach Cozy requested $24,000 for his past staff and their accomplishments in the 24 years. So that has gone over. But we will give you an update here. We just have to pull the account, and I'll let you know exactly what we have left. But there is money there, and it only moves when Coach Cozy sends me an email saying, this is the bonus structure for my coaches and staff, and we've transferred the money.
For the record, I'm Keisha Alexander Johnson. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keisha.
Thank you, great question.
Good morning.
Good morning.
When is the appropriate time for amendments to the proposed budget?
This is the time.
Okay. Then I move that the line item of $50,000 for life membership plaques and pins be reduced to $27,000. And my logic is that if we are projecting 300 new life members, and based on the estimated cost of pins and plaques to be distributed of around $90, that brings you to $27,000.
There was a motion, and then I think I heard a second.
Payne.
Right.
Hold on. There was a motion on the floor put on by Ms. Avis Payne here, right? And then there was a second that came from the back. Now, Mr. Point of order. Hold on. Right. There's an original motion on the floor first.
Right.
So I offered an amendment.
Yes, her motion for an amendment is in order. So
Right.
we would, if you approve of her motion, you would vote for her motion first. If it fails or if it passes, you then, if it passes, you attach it to the original motion and vote the whole thing out. If it fails, you just vote on the original motion.
Right.
So, Mr. President, I'd like to speak to that
Please.
Amendment, motion to amend.
And those that want to
You
speak
know,
to the amendment can.
Yeah, as stated yesterday, and so this is no surprise, my position stands on keeping the amount at $50,000 as it is. We have seen historically, this is what we actually pay, right? And so we've tried to do things, as was mentioned by the membership chair, to buy things in bulk and reduce the necessary costs. But these are the costs from the $750 for life members to get them what they paid for, right? We charge as much as we do. There's some talk about charging even more on the front end so that money is not extracted from the $197.2 million endowment amount. But until that happens, we want to reduce these and speed up the time for life members to get their resources. And so we budgeted 300 members, but we may see just what we've seen before, as in the past, 600, 700. It continues to be the goal to increase life membership so it perpetuates not only while they're living, but after the members pass to the great glory. So I would like to keep that amount as it currently is and approve the entire budget. And I yield.
Okay.
Mr. President.
Recognize Ms. Deborah Payton-Jones.
While it's a good point, and mathematically she is correct, those are the numbers I gave yesterday for 300 individuals. However, we have, what I was told this past year, I put you guys in a first world problem where we had more people than we ever had before becoming life members. So with that, I would keep the money where it is so we do not have to come back for additional monies to then be added. It is a wonderful opportunity, and to have that in the coffer would mean that we would be able to then buy even more in bulk and have it reduced so that our overhead would be down even further. We have worked tirelessly to make sure that our overhead has been reduced, and we're having the money and having it in advance. You vote whichever way you would like, but for those of you who have ever waited for a plaque, I would vote yes for the $50,000.
Yes, sir. You recognize. Please state your name.
Thank you. My name is Kevin Crawford. I'm opposed to decreasing the budget to $27,000 just for what this young lady has said. Also, you have to remember costs are going up, and in addition to that, this is a zero-based budget, right? And so my expectation is even though we have this $90,000 in the budget, that we will be doing everything we can to reduce those costs. So when the actuals come in, that they will be less. But I don't see any way to stifle the budget because of it.
Any other discussion on that? Questions? Microphones up front, please. Okay, well, hold on. Let's get a microphone. Hold on. There are people online probably listening too, and it's better if you have the microphone. They can at least hear the question.
Thank you for the acknowledgement, Lynette Jones. How much have we spent in this fiscal year on membership plaques? We have received a budget in the past 2 years without any actuals, so we don't know as members how much is being spent in any category. And so are those actuals going to be available so that we can see how much is being spent in this budget?
So there's a motion. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, starting during her administration, we had trouble getting actuals, and we continue to have getting actuals at this moment, but we have resolved that problem by the internal auditor providing once the fiscal year ends, we get the actuals for the entire fiscal year, and we provide that information into the budget. So we will get that information as promised.
Mr.
Hold on 1 second, Treasurer. So from the Treasurer's position, the actuals were presented today in the Financial Secretary's report. And it's in the flipping book, and she also went over in her Treasurer's report. So in the flipping book, you have a semblance to understand. Hold on. Hold on.
Please, order, please.
Let's
The
have-
president speaking.
Parliament, I need, Mr. Duncan, you, a parliamentarian, I need you, Howard, let's go.
Order, please.
We may have order. These are two acting sergeant at arms. Okay, all right, let's go. So it was in the flipping book. If there's a question about that, please raise your question.
We do not have this information in the flipping book that was provided. Maybe you have another link, but there's no financial information in the flipping book. And if it was presented in the treasurer's report, then why can't we have an answer?
Well, number one, refresh the flipping book, because I've just been told by technology it's there. We will have the treasurer give us that amount in a few moments. If you can come with the microphone, that would be great. Thank you. This is another question. Hold on, ma'am. Hold on. Let's get to the treasurer over here. Right quick, I want to address this with the, on the flipping book, the expense.
And if they're not in the flipping book right now, they should be uploaded shortly. But page 104, starting with the statement of financial activity, and there's another, our balance sheet should be in there as well.
Page 104. Okay.
And then this is through March of 2025.
Okay. All right. Now, there's a young lady. The microphone's coming to you. It's coming. Please just state your name so we have it for the record. All right.
My name is Joyce Couch, but my question does not pertain to the awards. I have something separate that I wanted to ask a question back.
Yes, ma'am.
And it pertains to the checks. I need clarity on what you were talking about in terms of that $30,000 or $50,000 for checks.
Right. So just
Right. Hold on.
How about I answer that after we deal with the motion on the floor?
Okay. We'll answer that. All right. So have we satisfied the motion that's on the floor? We've had debate about the amendment, Mr. Mitchell.
Right. It's time to vote on the amendment.
It's time to vote on the amendment, which was that we reduce that budget line item from 50,000 to 27,000. You've heard the pro and con debate. Call the question. Call the question has been raised. All those in favor of that, please pull out your paddles. If you're in favor of reducing to 27, please indicate by voting with your paddles with green. In favor, vote with green. Yes. Yes. Raise them high. Xavier, can you work this side of the room, please? And Howard, work the left side, please. If you're in favor to reduce to 27,000. Green, please. If you're in favor of reducing, green. Right?
Mr. President, we have 14.
Okay, 14. All right. All those opposed, please show red. All opposed.
Yes.
All right.
Once I pass by. Yes.
What's the count,
Mr.
sir?
President, we have 74.
All right. The motion fails on that amendment.
What was the count, Mr. President? 74 again.
74.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay. That motion amendment fails. Yes, sir.
So
we have a
now it
motion.
returns to the original motion, Mr. President.
Yes.
If there are no further questions, I call the question.
Call the question is raised on the budget that's been presented. I think there
that
was
a different. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, we're gonna entertain your
I'm sorry,
question
to
now.
answer your question, Ms. Couch, okay, just to re-explain, the $20,000 is my understanding. Every time you use a credit or a debit card, there is a convenience fee, right? And so the universities don't pay that fee, but we do. And we are trying to switch that. According right now, our third-party vendor at the Bank of America is telling us we can't switch that, but we do know it's possible with many other nonprofit organizations, PayPal to a friend or whatever, not to pay that $2.50 or $1.29 or whatever fee. We are proposing to switch that to the donor. So when I give $100, I pay the $5. That amount comes out to about $20,000 for convenience fees. Now on the checks, every time we write a check, I think it's like $2.50, so there's an additional fee for that. And so we're trying to find ways to reduce write less checks and get rid of all convenience fees. But right now, we haven't accomplished that, so we're budgeting for what we know is going to happen.
Yep. We pay an enormous amount in fees. When you have the convenience to go online to pay, when you buy your bus tickets or anything we're selling, the merchant charges us, and we're looking to try, the next administration will have to tackle this, is how do we begin to have these negotiations and discussions with banks. We probably need to go out to RFP and look at our whole banking system, because we're getting charged a lot of fees. So there's a motion on the floor.
The original motion is on the floor, Mr. Chair.
Call the question has been raised on the original motion to approve the budget. All those in favor, please indicate by the green side if you're in favor of approving the budget. Green. Show your green if you're in favor. We need a count. We need a count. What's the count, sir?
Mr. President, we have 87.
We have 87 in favor. All opposed, please indicate by showing the red side of your paddle. All opposed to passing the budget in this condition. Please show in red.
4.
We have a count.
Yes, sir, Mr. President, we have 5.
We have 5 not in favor of passing the budget. Motion passes, budget passes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, thank you for that committee. So, Ms. Keisha, your answer is, and this is for everybody, in account number 2696 at the FAMU Foundation, it's called the FAMU NAA Financial Compensation. It's for the football compensation account. As of March 30th, 2025, we had $80,792.66 still in that account. Now, that was as of March. I can tell you I just approved $24,000 to go to coach for his current or his past staff that won the Florida Classic and won the kickoff. So we had to pay those bonuses out. So we're shy about $24,000, give or take, out of that 80 that I just announced. And we'll continue to have frequent updates and make sure that you guys are aware that that money does not move unless Coach Cozy comes and say, I got coaches that I need to pay. Okay? All right.
Last up is a bylaws update, Mr. President.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we've been in here, we're going to take a 15-minute break and get ready to transition to our lunch, our presidential luncheon. So thank you for a great morning. We will come back and have that town hall later on this afternoon as well. I want to hear from you guys and go from there. But we also have bylaws.
Yeah, we're not doing it now?
You going to do the bylaws now?
Okay.
Y'all want to do bylaws now? Y'all been in here a long time. We're going to break for lunch. Go break for lunch. See y'all in a little bit.
Don't even try it.
to the 1403.
Actually, coming to join the
That's what we did because the previous year we had it and there was nobody responsible for doing it, so we did it. So I put that in and then the law paper took it upon itself to